Joining us now, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired General Wesley Clark. Sir, welcome back. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Marni.
Looking at that pie chart, I think it is pretty interesting, pointing out that the United States in 2024 put forth $967 billion towards NATO spending, in contrast to about $506 billion from other member nations. Is it a reasonable request from the U.S. that the other nations contribute more of their GDP?
Absolutely, they should contribute more, but also recognize your pie chart is showing total U.S. defense expenditures. And we're not just spending for NATO, we're spending for the Middle East, we're spending for Asia. And so it's a little bit misleading there.
So what should be required of other nations right now, and how does that influence the discussion with the Secretary General today at the White House?
Senator Roger Wicker published a study last year that said the United States needed to double our defense budget. So we should be going up to around 5%, and so should they. We have a major challenge, and today, of course, the Secretary General is going to try to make sure things are smooth with President Trump. But what's really happening is Russia's making a big move in Ukraine. They've taken advantage of the cutoff of U.S. intelligence to stage more forces against Kursk. It looks like they've captured a bunch of troops in Kursk. There are executions apparently going on, according to information I'm receiving. And Putin's wearing his military uniform. So this would be typical Russian tactics. Talk, fight, and keep the demands open and continue then to use the negotiations and the prospect of a ceasefire to slow down Western support for Ukraine, at the same time doing everything they can militarily to change the battlefield to their advantage.
The president characterizes it as we get closer to a possible ceasefire, that would be 80% of the way of getting this horrible bloodbath finished. Who holds the cards right now in terms of the negotiations and the leverage?
Well, it's not quite clear. Ukraine is determined to fight. So they're going to fight whether the United States says to stop fighting or not. They're not going to let Russia just walk over them, and they're not going to surrender to the Russian demands. So it's the courage and resilience of the Ukrainian people that are really defending all of Europe and American ideals. Putin, of course, has North Korean support. The North Koreans were big in Kursk. He's getting technical assistance from China and material assistance and drones and other missiles from Iran. President Trump has earlier sort of slanted the discussion like Russia's easy to deal with, Ukraine's hard to deal with, therefore I'm going to put out some pressures on Ukraine. He's going to have to now put the pressures on Mr. Putin, and they're going to have to be strong pressures, not just discussions of, hey, maybe we'll tighten up sanctions. That's not symmetrical to having cut off intelligence and resulting in this big loss in Kursk. So I think there's a lot to be worked on during the next period, and I wouldn't expect a rapid termination of this conflict.
Finally, I want to circle back on NATO with just a moment left here. It seems as though a worst-case scenario, the U.S. would not be involved in NATO. What would be the impact of that if the U.S. were to withdraw?
It would destroy U.S. credibility globally, because we've got a treaty. We've been in it for a long time. It would certainly hurt European security. It would impact our trade, the value of the dollar, the power of the BRICS working against the United States, and it would leave us isolated from those in the world that most share our values, our principal investment and trading partners. Really bad idea.
General Wesley Clark, appreciate your time as always, sir. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.